Hi, Kim. Bob Forche here, Supply Chain Pro to Know. You asked for some additional feedback on the issues of tariffs, so I wanted to give you a couple of my comments here. Um, the first one, what is the hot button around most issues for buyers dealing with tariff issues? And I would say surprises. Usually it's because we have the lack of a plan. We don't know how to have more flexibility yet, and lack of risk management, which ends up being a lack of resiliency with not too many options. So that's probably the hot button. If we look at the next question, what are the three biggest concerns? I would say it's pretty immediate in terms of how we deal with current situations. Number one is what carries tariff, what doesn't, and to what extent. There's a lot of details out there and a lot of a lack of clarity unless you really know the HTS system. And that's not exactly the same as the global system. So we have to reconcile that too. The other is how much. And so that's going to have a lot of different answers. I think we've had 143 something different tariff actions in the last 90 days, which make it really hard to figure out what is it actually going to cost me. And then the last piece would be when, based on when something hits the water. If it's a ocean transport, we've got lots of issues with lead time and when to trigger the delivery, and how does that affect the manufacturing schedule, and what do I do with my cash outlay and cash flow. So those are probably the three biggest concerns I would suggest for most companies. And the last one, roadblocks. So you asked to talk about three roadblocks to getting what we want. I would say one of the challenges is having access to information and in order to make good decisions. This is a challenging thing because most of us are not really experts in import export, and there's a lot of other details that come into play here, not the least of which is classifications, which we talked about earlier. One is the lack of clarity in terms of the current administration. Things are changing quickly. It's really hard to know how to make any plans when you don't know if it's going to be 145%, 27%, 10%, or something different, and who's on the list and who isn't. And so that's really a challenge when you're trying to make any kind of purchasing decisions. And then the last one is because we didn't have a plan B or a plan C. Now we have to figure out what are we going to do to get through the current time, and it's really hard to make future decisions when you're struggling with the current. So that would be my contribution here for just a few more things to talk about around tariff. I think risk management and future planning is going to play a much bigger role. So hopefully that helps. Thank you, Kim, for the opportunity to contribute. Bye for now. Bob Forche, Supply Chain Pro to Know.